All right, hey guys, we're back with our Knightquest, the Crusade series leading up to our big Knightquest podcast. So this is Batman 502, another awesome Kelly Jones cover. There he is, Kelly Jones, 93. Doesn't seem like all that long ago, but I guess it kind of is. And this is sort of the conclusion of the two-part story that was started in Batman 501, and this is Batman 502. Did I say 503? I can't even remember now. But this is 502. And still, it's kind of a little weird because I'm not really sure. The villain, sometimes he's chaos. Here it says Phoenix and Chaos. Sometimes he's referring to himself as Chaos or Phoenix, and then sometimes he had this other CIA code word. But once again, done by Doug Munch, one of the unsung great Batman writers, and Mike Manley, such a great Batman artist, also kind of unsung. And here, right off where we left off, as Bats here, Jean-Paul Valley kind of ducked out of the way of the assassin and let the gangster here, Mercanti, I think it's Mercanti, I can't even remember. There's so many gangsters with these names. Take the bullet, which is something I don't think Bruce Wayne typically would have done. Maybe if you find like one comic from the 70s or something like that. But typically he would have tried to save the bad guy from death. But as Bats just moves in here, I like it's kind of a good use of the new light, the new bat signal. I thought that was a cool update to the costume. Although I find it kind of weird that the assassin would think the symbol was actually Batman. But anyway, then the next couple pages is kind of a fight scene. You know, the villain is kind of it's kind of like an Iron Man ripoff with no color, I guess, and not, you know, doesn't really fly too much. It's kind of generic 90s villain here. They have kind of a shoot it out fight scene here for a little while. The last few pages here kind of just goes on and on. But some good Mike Manley art. I love seeing As-Bats. I guess, you know, at the time I thought we'd see a lot more of them, maybe years and years of this Batman. And in fact, we don't get that. But also great coloring. And then we get a little of here's the CIA worried about their rogue agent. Reminds me a lot of the Bourne Identity. And then we've got Batman playing with some of Bruce Wayne's toys, listening in on the gangsters, and then kind of find it a little bit different the way Jean-Paul As-Bats operates than Bruce, is that he kind of tried to pit the assassin against the other gangsters, trying to trick the assassin, there he is right there, that the other gangsters weren't going to pay him and were only out for him to do their dirty work, and then they were going to kill him, and kind of with no regard to whether these people, even though they are criminals, are going to just get killed or gunned down. And I think he even makes a statement somewhere in here, I don't know if I can find it, of like, well, let him do the dirty work for me here. And so, Skid Row, look at that album. Anyway, so that's very different. And then we have the assassin shows up where the gangsters are. And I always find this funny. That right there, I know it's supposed to be a Italian restaurant. And I guess maybe the window's boarded because of last issue's activities. But to me, that looks just like the Android Dungeon comic book store from The Simpsons. I don't know, I find that funny here. And then we have a little bit more of a fight scene. Double page Looney Tunes ad here. And then here's Batman again with his, bloody knuckles. Well, there's not much blood there, but there's the blood. I guess it's on his foot. And we kind of get a little take of how Gordon and the new As-Bats are not quite getting along, and Gordon is starting to have lots of doubts. And Batman's kind of just like, oh, the end justifies the means. But Gordon is like, well, maybe not if the means is this way. And here he is talking to Sarah. Oh, poor Sarah, what the Joker has planned for you. It's kind of weird reading these in reverse order like that, knowing what's coming. But she kind of makes the point of like, well, maybe Batman has been several people. Maybe he's been, like 5 or 6 guys. You don't know. And now he changes all the time. There's an ad for comics. What's sad is you can get a lot of these comics for the same price or even less on eBay. And then here, this kind of reminds me of the mayor from Gotham. I don't know if they use the same name or not, but he's basically saying that he's going to side with the new As-Bats. He likes his style. And then we kind of have kind of ends quickly here with Asbats and the gangsters all kind of having a big showdown. And then what I find really weird is the assassin, all of a sudden, he has rollerblades pop out of his feet. I'm like, where did those rollerblades come from? And then the assassin kind of takes a turn. It kind of really out of character. He was, hunting down gangsters and reciting this mantra about Phoenix, which kind of reminded me about like the Batman I Am Suicide storyline going on right now. But then all of a sudden, he just starts gunning down innocent people, like people just in the 24-hour mini mart trying to get 99-cent soda, 1-liter bottle. All of a sudden, he just guns them down because they're in the way. Because I think that was kind of out of character from the rest of the story. It's almost like they're just trying to wrap this up quick here. And so Batman and the assassin have another brouhaha for a couple of pages. And there's the bloody knuckles. That's what I was looking for. And then Batman just kind of, gets kind of ultra violent on him, very reminiscent of like 90s Image comics here, and ends up kind of hanging him up in the meat locker, which I'm surprised 24-hour mini marts have such an extensive meat locker, but it kind of is good imagery here, which kind of goes back to the cover where you can see the hooks kind of for the meat locker. And then we get our letters. So it's kind of I thought the first part of this storyline was much better than the second part. The second part was just like a lot of pages of just random violence and wrapping it up, and the villain was never really fleshed out. But then it's intriguing because next, Catwoman. And so I hope I'm going some kind of order for these books that makes somewhat sense, since there are no part 1 or 2 or anything like that. There are different reading orders and different ways they've been published in trade paperbacks. But anyway, so from Knightquest, leading up to our big podcast, this was Batman 502. Leave a comment, tell me what you think, and we'll see you next time in the Batman universe.